All right. Well. Here we go. Bushwhacking history in Buffalo with Berserker Bear, aka the scrupulous Berserker, because I pay attention to detail. What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Good to be back. It's been a little bit of time since the last stream. Sorry for that, but we'll address that as I go on. Say what's up to everybody in the chat. Morning Glory, always one of the first. I mean that. I appreciate that. Salty Dog, OG. Familiar Sleuths, Mr. Ganarsis just showing up. Good to see everybody. So what's going on today? Well, as you can see, let me pull down here. If you've been following along, you know I like to get out in the field. I call it field work. And the last field work that I did was with my buddy Robbie Rad, full rip, at Pinnacle Hill, which is a interesting formation south of Rochester. And we're gonna check it out. I did some, like I said, field work there about a month and a half ago. So I would have liked to get this out earlier than I am doing now, but it is what it is. I have a family. I also work full time, and sometimes life just happens as it does. So we're gonna read and go through articles, everything that I could find on the internet. None of my books really mentioned Pinnacle Hill, but it is what it is. I would like to have presented what I found in any of my books, but that is what it is too. I'm a big fan of using a lot of my academic books that I was blessed to get from my family. And I'm also a big proponent of, like I said, the field work, getting out in the field and walking on what we research. So you'll always see that here. And again, I appreciate y'all showing up. So Rock Wiki, as you can see on the page, Rock stands for Rochester. Here in Buffalo, we call Rochester the Rock, ROC. It's kind of a colloquial term, if you will. But let's see what's going on here. We're going to go through, so effectively, the mainstream says that it's a glacial moraine or an end moraine or a terminus moraine. And I'm going to say right now that I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm against the mainstream in that respect. Sometimes, as I have written down on my outline here, in the alternative history niche, I like to say that we're not always against or combative with the mainstream, and you can't always disagree on them with whatever they say. So we're going to see this cool animation this gentleman put together of the formation of a moraine, which I think kind of might be what we're looking at here. And for those interested, this is where it is in Rochester, just south of Rochester right here. You got the Genesee River on the left, Irondequoit Bay on the right, and then up here is Lake Ontario. Okay, and it's just an interesting formation now. Let's go look at the LiDAR right quick. Not there. Where is it? Okay, here we go. This is the LiDAR. Now, this area is heavily glaciated, if I could use that as a term, from the last ice age, and we're going to learn that as we go. There's a lot of, as you would call, drumlins. You could see them striated throughout this area. And these are little deposits left by like the retreating glaciers 10,000 years ago. A lot of evidence for it all over the state. A lot of it in Western New York. A lot of what people will call mounds might actually be a certain glacial formation. That's not taken away from the possibility that some mounds could also be ancient hill forts and mounds. We're going to get into that too. But there's also evidence from glaciation from here, Western New York, all the way over to Central Park in New York City, where there's outcroppings of the bedrock in Central Park, and you can see the scratches on the actual rocks. And mainstream says that they're from the glaciation and the glaciers that were here. Again, 10,000 BC, last ice age. So again, I'm not combative with the mainstream. I probably believe that that's true, but we got to do a little bit more digging. And in doing our field work, you might come up with some different stuff. And as Robbie and I did, we're going to see that. But let's start off by reading the Rock Wiki right quick, getting familiarized with what we're going to be walking on top of, and you're going to see that. I'm going to briefly read this, or read it fast. I'll try to keep up with people in the chat. Again, appreciate you being here. And we'll go over the slideshow that I have of my GoPro footage and pictures. And we'll take it from there. We'll see what the mainstream says about it. We'll go over some terms. Like I said earlier, drumlins. You can see how it's kind of similar to what I showed on the LiDAR map of Western New York. This is a really cool, I've showed this before. If you're following along, you know that I got the links for the gravy here in Western New York and the greater New York area in general. But LiDAR was done over the whole New York state. And I have shown this before. You could actually see all the drumlins here. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to showcase my GoPro footage of walking on what I research with Robbie Rad. And I think I'll try to play some smooth audio over the along with the slideshow. But let's read this right quick to get an overview of what we're working with, and we're going to read another article from this lady, Debbie Bauer. But we'll lead into that after the slideshow, and we'll go from tab to tab, as you can see on here. And if anybody has any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will address them as I can. And you're watching Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear, aka the Scrupulous Berserker. Here we go. So, and again, I'll leave all these links, as you can see, in cascade form, all these links up here. Maybe aside from the Google Earth, you guys know how to do that, but we're also going to be checking out a topographical map, because that's important here as far as I'm concerned, as where the glacier came from, because right off the bat, you don't see any really higher ground aside from over here. Where's the glacier coming from? I'm going to question that. But again, I'm not being combative with the mainstream, just looking for common ground, level ground. No pun intended. So these will all be listed for you at your leisure in the description below after the video. Might be a long one today. We'll see. But I want to showcase my boots on the ground, as it were, field work. So let's get right into it. Pinnacle Hill is the highest point in Rochester. How's my audio doing? Anybody can give me feedback. I appreciate that. Just drop it in the chat. I didn't ask that, but I'm pretty sure I'm coming through all right. So here we go. Let's get my mug off the screen. Start again. Pinnacle Hill is the highest point in Rochester, reaching 749 feet above sea level, or 506 feet above the city's lowest point at Lake Ontario. Originally referred to as Mount Monroe. Solid, thank you, Salty. Originally referred to as Mount Monroe in an 1829 deed, but by 1838 it was known as Pinnacle Hill. It is one of a range of 4 hills, originally 5, collectively termed, quote, the Pinnacle Hills, that run along the city's southern and southeastern boundary. The 4 hills are Cobb's Hill, Pinnacle Hill, Highland Hill, and Mount Hope Cemetery. The 5th hill, Oak Hill, was leveled for the construction of the original Oak Hill Country Club, which later became the river campus of the University of Rochester. In 1838, St. Patrick's Cemetery opened on the hill's western slope. By 1871, the cemetery had filled, and the Roman Catholic Bishop of Rochester, Bishop McQuaid, urged families to remove the remains of their relatives and reinter them at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery. The last remains were not removed until the 1930s. Pinnacle Hill's elevation is augmented by 5 broadcast towers. We're going to see those in my footage. Pretty sweet. While virtually the entire hill is privately owned, there is a network of trails accessible from Field Street just off Clinton Avenue. There are some excellent views from the southern flank of the summit. On the northeast side of the hill is the headquarters of the Hillside Children's Center, formerly Rochester Orphan Asylum. Oh boy. The broadcast towers at the top of the hill are the source of almost all the over-the-air television service in the city, as well as a good portion, I dare say majority, of the FM radio transmissions. In 2004, the National Radio Club's convention was held in Batavia, and a day trip to Pinnacle Hill was undertaken. See this page, there's a link there, between Pinnacle Hill Gate and WXXI / WUHF / WOKR towers. Those are radio stations, obviously, for the pictures. We got some pictures in that article that I cited by that lady. We're going to go over that and read that article after the slideshow. Pinnacle Hill was a significant landmark for the Seneca Indians, that is. Most of its pre-colonization usage is lost to history. Boom, that's where I come in. So that link will be in the description. And we're going to play a quick 5-minute video, again, to bring you guys into definitions and what's going on with the glaciation of how moraines are formed. This guy does a great job of explaining it, showing a visual of it. So I think it's important to preface my presentation with this. I got it on 1.25 speed, so I beg your patience watching this. I do believe it's important. Right after this, we're going to go into my slideshow of the GoPro footage on top and walking on top of it. I might show a little bit of my IG where I went live. That's kind of a long one, but we'll play it as it goes, and we'll see what's going on. Salty says, Oak Hill Golf Course and History Erasure Company. It's always a golf course, ain't it? Mr. Ganarsa says, audio is solid. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Now, without further ado, this is how moraines and terminal moraines are formed. Pay attention to the actual shape of the one that he shows in this illustration here. Also consider, where are we? Consider the shape of this, and what do you think? I'm curious as to the feedback that I get from this. So let's get right into this. It's at 1.25 speed, but it's very important because this is what mainstream is saying that this formation is. Okay. I will mute myself and hit play.
Hey, I'm Charlie Thompson, and I wanted to do a really quick video showing the formation of recessional moraines and how they're different from terminal and end moraines. So here we've got a typical alpine scene. We've got snow falling, it's accumulating, the snow is getting compressed, the air is getting squeezed out, and it's becoming glacial ice. So once it gets a couple 100 feet thick,
here we go.
That ice will flow downhill under the influence of gravity very, very slowly. Maybe, a meter a day might be a good rate of flow for you to keep in mind, which is like 3 feet a day. So it moves really slowly, but it does move under the influence of gravity. So as the ice is moving along, it's moving over the ground and it's picking up rocks. It's disturbing rocks, it's transporting rocks. So you've got abrasion and scouring on the bottom. And when the glacier sits in one place for a while, so when conditions are such that the amount of snow coming in is matched to the amount of heat and melting in the wintertime, you can have a situation where the glacier is still flowing downhill in this process. So we've got a glacier, it's flowing downhill, and it doesn't look like it's moving because the end is staying in the same place. But as the glacier is moving along, it's picking up, these are erratics, it's going to grind those against the ground, and it's going to build up at the end, making, in this case, this would be the end moraine. This is the terminal moraine because that's as far out as it got. So here we've got a terminal moraine. So in this case, the glacier has flowed downhill. There's a cool and wet period when the glacier is advancing. And now conditions have changed. Maybe it's warmer, maybe it's not as wet. And so there's less snow coming in and there's more ice melting away. And so what's going to happen is the glacier is going to keep flowing downhill, but the end is going to stall out for a while. So now we've got the formation of a recessional moraine. So this would be the terminal moraine. That's the farthest moraine out. This would be the end moraine. And as the glacier melts back, this would be a recessional moraine. So now we've got a series of recessional moraines. And what that tells us, when you have a series of increasingly smaller recessional moraines, that tells you that the first sequence, the first part of glaciation was the biggest push of the ice downhill. So it forms this nice terminal moraine here. And then as the glacier melts back, it stalls out for a while. You get a recessional moraine, it melts back some more. You get another recessional moraine. And so the only way you can end up with these subsequent smaller recessional moraines is if the first push was the biggest and then it melted back and you got a smaller one and it melted back more and you got another one. So the other thing that could happen is the opposite, where you could have had a series of recessional moraines, right? You could have had a small pulse and then it melts back, and then a bigger pulse and it melts back. And when you get that bigger pulse, what happens is all the previous moraines are going to get shoved, they're going to get transported to the end, so you end up with one big, huge, massive terminal moraine. So if you have one moraine, that tells you that the last episode of glaciation was the biggest, because it's moved all of the evidence of previous smaller glaciers. It's just shoved all that to the end like a bulldozer. On the other hand, and this is the situation in the Sierras, when we had a larger or colder, wetter conditions, a more extensive glaciation, the glaciers were larger, they were longer, they flowed farther downhill. And then we had a series of smaller glacial episodes where the glacier wasn't extending as far out. So you get this series of recessional moraines. So just to summarize, if you have a series of smaller episodes of glaciation and then a bigger one, all you're going to end up with is the evidence of the last one, because the loose rock is going to get pushed to the end, and then you've got one end moraine or one terminal moraine made up of jumbled moraine from all of the smaller glacial episodes. On the other hand, like in the Sierras, we've got a series of recessional moraines, and then the organic material in these moraines we could use to radiocarbon date and go, oh yeah, in fact, this is the oldest, this is more recent, and this is the youngest. So I just, like I said, wanted to make a really quick video to explain how you end up with a series of recessional moraines as opposed to ending up with just one big, long, massive terminal moraine. That's it. I hope you enjoy the lab.
Sure did. And I hope you guys learned something. Like I said, usually if you come here, you're going to learn something, whether or not you're in an alternative history or not. You're always going to learn something when you're watching bushwhacken history. So now, did you keep an eye on the actual, now that it's on screen here, look at the shape of that. And when I've had my last live with Robbie Rabear, we actually touched on this, that we're going to come here, right? And I've said before, in line with what I think about what's going on here in the Western New York, especially in my area, Buffalo being a pinch point, getting into the interior, coming down the St. Lawrence, whether it's Vikings. I'm also of the cloth of Barry Fell. I've shared his work a very, very long time ago, quite a few years ago, actually. You could scroll down on my IG. Matter of fact, to mention my IG, I might actually end the stream scrolling down my feed, because I believe I got a couple good posts to make some good points. But that said, I've suspected in that light that some of these ancient mounds could be ancient hill forts from the Celts, and that's what Barry Fell has put forward. I don't know if I have the book laying around here somewhere. In America, BC, he's also got another book called Saga America, but he was a New Zealand marine biologist, and he did extensive work in the northeast of America, showcasing not just old mounds that could be ancient Celtic hill forts, but inscriptions that show the Ogham language of the Celts. And he also suspected that Phoenicians were here as well. And we're talking that's like 1K BC. So do we know that definitively? And do I have empirical evidence to show you? No, but there is conjecture. And a lot of the work that I do here is, and other people think that there was civilization here prior to Columbus. So, and in that light, to repeat myself, I suspected, well, is this an ancient hill fort? And I said that to Robbie, our last live session that we went to. You can check that out on my channel. But also, I thought kind of looks like maybe a serpent mound status, but maybe I was just lobbing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks, because in this presentation, it does look, if anybody's got some feedback on this, it does kind of look like, yeah, it could be a terminal moraine. And with that, it's going to bring us into reading this article after our slideshow. So I'm going to play the slideshow right now. You'll see the GoPro footage, the pictures that Robbie and I took. Also, on my way to get them, I didn't record my ride there. Short little snippets you're going to see with the GoPro. I did it with my phone, so you might see the difference in quality. I'm not sure. I still am tweaking and learning how to use the GoPro, but it is what it is. And we're going to read this article afterward. I think it's going to shine some more light on what I'm doing here. And without further ado, we're getting into too long in the tooth. Let's just show the slideshow. So this is what you see on the screen. when I type in Pinnacle Hill from my house, how to get there, it's like a 1 hour and 14-minute drive. So we get out in the field, you know, I commit myself to doing it, and I had to pick Robbie up. He's not too far outside of Rochester, so it was on the way. And yeah, we got there. So let's check out the slideshow. I'm going to mute myself because I have to manually hit next. That's why we're going to play some tunes to try to keep it flowing, if you will, and we'll see how it goes. If it gets a little too choppy or whatever, please let me know. Feedback in the comments. I appreciate it, and we'll figure it out from there. This is what you call live truthering. Showcasing Pinnacle Hill in the Rock, a.k.a. Rochester. 7-Eleven Lucas Bear pops in. Good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you. Treasure Hunting New York. Good to see you, too. All right, here we go. Here go the regular sleuths. Good to see everybody. About to play the slideshow right now. And anybody, you know what's going on here in New York, treasure hunting in New York. I appreciate you showing up. You're very valuable to what's going on here as far as researching the history of New York State. Love your channel. Everybody go subscribe to Treasure Hunting in New York. Here we go. Can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. What's up, y'all? Berserker Bear, Bushwhacking History. I'm on my way out to get my buddy Robbie Radbear. I know I've been posting about it a lot, but we're going to get to Pinnacle Hill, south of Rochester. You see me, like I said, talking about it, whether it's on my videos or posting about it on IG. But today's the day. It's a beautiful day, and I'm about an hour away from getting Robbie, and then we're going to shoot right towards and right to Pinnacle Hill, and we're going to see what that's about. Is it a natural formation? Is it an old ancient hill fort, or is it a natural formation that is also an ancient hill fort? Is our answer going to be definitive? No, but we're definitely going to walk on what we're researching. So just checking in. I'll report back. God bless. Who says New York State ain't country? I mean, country road, take me home. All right, so we just got here. We're literally right next to Pinnacle Hill. Robbie Rad, crushing it, and I'm getting the GoPro ready. Where's it at? Right here. But we're about to be boots on the ground. We're here on location, Pinnacle Hill, finally. Robbie Rad and I fucking just crushing the Western New York area, aka the Western Door. Anywhere and everywhere we can get, we're gonna get there. And like I said, walk on what we research. So we suggest you do the same. Here we go. Okay, so we're walking up it, like we literally just put our feet on it. And right away, I'm not sure if you could see, layer. We'll show it in the overhead, but I don't know, it looks like it's terraced. So we're already up off the ground a little bit. And if this is Pinnacle Hill, Pinnacle Hill is the tallest one, Robbie?
Yes.
So we've probably got
700 and something feet. I can't remember.
Well, we got to hike, dude. unless we're up it a little bit right now, where our car was up a little bit, but yeah, we got a little bit of a hike. Here we go. Very cool. I'm not sure if you can see scale, but that's probably 75 feet down to that trail down there, right off the side of the road. Look at this. It's pretty steep up that. I think we're taking the back trail way, dude. Cool with it.
That must how people get in here with mountain bikes.
I'll bet, yeah, it kind of looks like a mountain bike. We're on the mountain bike park, dude.
Watch out,
Yeah, right, zipping down through here, right? That's a good point.
They come in with shovels and modify it.
That's a good point. What do you see there, Robbie?
Red raspberries.
Red raspberries?
You'll know I was wrong if I'm
Start throwing up.
or the other side.
Oh, geez.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, this is a very cool place. Wow. You can see, I mean, it just got facets. It's a drop off right there. We just passed the mountain bike park. Oh, there goes a deer, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about it. What's up, Fluffy Dude?
There's deer up on here?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Nope. Probably he's eating those berries before I scared her up.
Probably was. Wow. We got deer up here. This place is awesome. So we're slowly making our way up, obviously.
See the mountain bike course down there.
Yeah, you can see the mountain bike course down there.
Good shot. Wow.
So if you have, let's go up that, but I want to see this and show this. If you had the balls to go on this mountain, it doesn't look like it's been used in a while, but it does look like it's been used because there goes a pretty steep drop off and you got not too much room for error right there. What do you say, Robbie? That's pretty ballsy, huh?
Older than I.
Me too.
Let's jump over the chasm.
Yeah, this is
Over the pit.
yeah, this is grown over with the flora. But we're gonna instead of going taking the roundabout way, looks like we're gonna go. Where's it at, Robbie?
Right here. You want to hit it? You want me to?
Go right ahead. Bushwhack that shit. Yeah, it almost looks like there's a clearing up here, and Robbie just did an elevation check on Google Earth, and it looked like we were damn near the top. Is that right? You think maybe it might be your fire pit spot from way back in the day, bro? Wow.
Hey, baby.
She's beautiful. Look at that. She just said hello. So, okay. I wonder if there's an outlook spot, dude. There's got to be, right?
Towers now. There's one of them.
Yep, okay. That's what we seen when we did our drive. There we go, yep.
There's 3 radio towers mounted on Pinnacle Hill. I'm not exactly sure what they're radioing, but probably all your local stations.
Yeah, that's it, though, for sure. How we doing?
So you think it was a burial site for Native Americans as well?
I think that they probably used it, but when I
don't know what they did with it, but they know it was a significant site. Some of the research I dug up for the Senecas, because now the Senecas are more associated out with like Buffalo area and stuff.
Right.
But pre 1600, they would have been would be east of the Genesee, so along all this is Rochester now, and then they expanded towards Buffalo during the Beef Wars.
1600s. There you go, Robbie. So that tower that we just seen, here goes, yeah, like Robbie just said, the modern infrastructure, the installation, 5G. Oh boy.
He was sterilizing me as I'm getting.
Yeah, there goes the. Put your tinfoil hat on, bro. This will be a cool. This, oh, there goes the 3 right there. There go the 3. Let me see if I can get a good up and down on that.
Raise the space.
Oh, that's cool. And I wonder if we can. Oh, people, yeah, there's some tagging down there too, aka graffiti.
Can't even see it with the trees.
Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, there are. There's 2 here. 2, and then the 3 that you see on Wikipedia. If you look this place up, this is awesome. There goes, gives you a sense of scale. Robbie walking into the frame right there, perfect. And then, like I said, you got some tagging going on. See that? We'll get a little closer. Wow, is right. Those are like houses, dude. Are those? That can't be houses. What is going on there?
More infrastructure.
That's yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, like server farm type of deal. But there's like 3-4 houses over there. This is a pretty big complex, yo.
I wonder if they have workers that live on site.
That's what I mean. There's got to be an access road, obviously, maintenance access road. Yeah, I bet it's locked too.
But this might have been your way up if it was an ancient fortification.
Yeah, this might have been the original. They would have followed the original trail. Great point, Robbie. Yes, they would have. Just like I'm sure Joseph Ellicott did in this trips back and forth between Batavia and Buffalo. And I just drove that route basically to get here. I passed Batavia, and to travel that route back in the day, horse and buggy, I'm telling you what, it makes you think that, yeah, there were ancient paths here. And I'll be getting into that more at Mason Winfield too. Look at this. It's just fascinating how massive these things are. You don't realize until you rub your nose on it, as they say. That's what we're doing. And these just look like homes, but Robbie's right. They're probably they probably got server banks in here and cooling systems and whatever they're doing.
Maybe some office type
Yeah,
stuff.
maybe some office type stuff.
But like looking at how outdated some of the AC units and the windows and stuff are, it doesn't look like a lot of it's been used probably in that regard.
You're saying it's kind
probably
of
pretty autopilot, I would say, these days.
remote?
There's probably just people that come in and check on it.
Check on it, so it's like remotely used.
But I bet it might have been more
At one time permanently, like a workforce here. Yeah. There you go, Robbie.
Just looking at how outdated some of the infrastructure looks.
That's that insight that you get when you get out to places. And like I say, I don't want to be a broken record, but walk on top of what you research. Just don't hit next on a keyboard. You know what I mean?
WXSI radio.
There you go.
Master control.
Don't need to tell me that, because I am not climbing on these fucking things. Robbie's nuts. Look at this, dude. That's the roof ninja coming out right there. This goes, and I love how these areas look in forests where the ground is just matted with leaves. The trees come up out of it. I love that. Stay right there, Robbie. You fucking crazy bastard. That's dope. Look at this guy. Wouldn't catch me doing that. I'm not that nimble. Hold on. So what did you? So we're just walking down. I don't think we passed this fire pit, but Robbie has history here. Had a fun time back in the day, and he just said, you think that this might be the fire pit that you were. How many years ago was that, Robbie?
We're probably talking about a decade ago. So my wife and my older cousin, who they grew up best friends, used to live over here on Field Street in Rochester, New York. And at one point, they went to go on this big adventure across the country, and they literally traveled like West Coast, out to the West Coast and back, but all over the country in the meantime. And we came up here to Pinnacle Hill many moons ago. It's the only other time I've been here besides today with the Berserk. And we came up here and we burned a bunch of their possessions as like a letting go, if you will, or a new chapter type of deal. And I don't really remember it because it was a long time ago.
Having a good time.
And we were having a good time. But I just came to this spot and I looked around and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is where the fire pit.
You're getting those vibes.
Yeah. It just something seems familiar about it.
Probably was, Robbie.
It's cool though. Look at this spot. It's an epic little fire pit spot, man.
Yeah, it is. And we're kind of on, it's almost like almost like a parapet, because we're kind of almost on all sides. Yeah. It cones in here, right? But it drops off there. Here goes the trail. It's almost like this is the end of a ridge because it drops off all around us now, aside from where we came from. So yeah, again, it goes down layers, and of course I understand that that could have been done in modern times, putting trails through here, but again, I got to cite the lidar. The lidar does show that it does look, the whole complex looks like all the hills look like they were terraced, natural or from ancient forts, who knows. But it's cool to get out here and show it and share it. Yeah, it's starting to turn a little bit dark. We noticed while we were up at the top that looks like there's a system rolling in. So go figure, we get caught out here while we're at the top of the hill in a rainstorm or whatever. But we're gonna try to go make it to Cobb's Hill. So let's see if we can report back from there. This is cool. Blows my mind that there's a regular neighborhood right here. Cars la-di-da riding by. There goes Robbie. It's still up pretty high. Descends quickly. Just awesome. It's like there's a ravine down here almost. Just right in the middle of the city. You got a place like this. How cool. Okay, we had to do a little bit of looking around to get to this. Am I going straight here? You still on it?
Yes.
So we're definitely going up on a clip at an angle, and we're on Cobb's Hill right now. And I wanted to get the drive up to it because it's pretty cool. I was here a couple weeks ago on a whim for training for my job, and we had to do a ride along. And one of my buddies, Keenan, if you watch this, you drove right through here, bro, like totally randomly. And I had already had this place on the docket to go to. Look at how it's, again, terraced, whether it's modern terracing or ancient terracing, who's to know? But I'm pretty sure we're going to be coming up to this gate that's got Romanesque pillars or Corinthian pillars, as it were, right up here. And this is also a hiking trail, or people, that's as a matter of fact, right over this hill is let's get out really quick and show it.
Oh, the reservoir.
It's right there.
Yep.
Live sleuthing. I don't care if it's raining. We'll go in and out. Is what it is. Wow, it's big. So it is raining, but oh, where you at? There you are. What up, Robbie? This is it. Look at this, dude. We seen it. Cobb's Hill Reservoir. Sorry that it's raining, but that storm came up on us pretty quick. Luckily, we went up on the hill, Pinnacle Hill, but it is what it is. Hey, bushwhacking history, Robbie Rad, this is what we do. We're out in it, crushing. There goes Cobb's Hill Reservoir. Rochester, what was that?
That's Rochester, New York for you too. Weather will turn in a minute.
Yeah, in Buffalo, we call the Rochester the Rock, R-O-C. Yes, sir. Let's go see that gate. And that was the slideshow, although I was manually going through it. So I appreciate your patience with that, and some of it was choppy, but let's fade that out a little bit. at least it came through choppy on a couple parts from what I could see. Maybe it didn't actually in the presentation. Oh, well, it is what it is. Sometimes showcasing the GoPro 4K HD, Ultra HD, UHD footage doesn't translate to showcasing it on the StreamYard. So, hey, what are you going to do? You guys get the general sense of it, and I showed it. Water always finds its leave, or its level. Yes, it does. I think that's what you're trying to say, 7-Eleven Lucas. Water always finds its level. Sure does. We'll show a little bit of that at the end of the stream on my IG. Like I said, for those that are just showing up, thank you. And we're probably going to end our stream on my IG feed because I post a lot there in between my videos here. If you're following along with me for a while, you know that. But for the new subscribers and watchers, go check out my Instagram. Link is already in the description. Follow me there for the interim research in between videos here on YouTube. There you go. And water always finds its level. Indeed, 7-Eleven. Yep, I figured. It's all good. All right, so that was the boots on the ground with the GoPro. Again, I'm still learning the specs of the GoPro. So maybe a little choppy because the bit rate I got to change, but I'll get better at it. And again, that's the gate. So that's going to lead us right into this article that I'm going to read from A Range of Possibilities Exploring Rochester's Pinnacle Hills. Then we're going to that picture is also from that article, okay? And it says that it's where the Erie Canal meets the Pinnacle Hills, but there's a confusing notion about that, and we'll look at it after I read this real quick. It's not a very long article, but again, bear with me. I'm doing a whole presentation here, and long form streams is what I'm about. So let's read it. By Debbie Bauer from Day Trips Around Rochester, New York. Link will be in the description below. Excuse me. A Range of Possibilities Exploring Rochester's Pinnacle Hills. The Pinnacle Range forms a portion of the city of Rochester's southern border. It is a glacial moraine, we learned that already, formed by the retreating Wisconsin Glacier 12,000 years ago. It is composed of large mounds of sand and gravel. 5 Pinnacle Hills are Cobbs Hill, Pinnacle Hill, Highland Park, Mount Hope, and Oak Hill. This is repetitive. We did this before the slideshow, but it's good to reiterate and underline and highlight this stuff so you learn it. Highland Drive connects the first of 4, but ends at Mount Hope. The University of Rochester campus on Oak Hill lies just beyond Mount Hope Cemetery at the river's edge. As Herman Fairchild states, that link will be in the description below. As Herman Fairchild states, in the Pinnacle Hills or the Rochester KAME moraine, from the proceedings of the Rochester Academy of Science, quote, only 2 other physiographic features about Rochester can compare with the range for size and interest. These are the Rochester Canyon of the Genesee River and the Irondequoit Valley, the latter being the ancient or pre-glacial channel of the river, unquote. East to west, these are being rattled off from east to west. Cobbs Hill, Pinnacle Hill, Highland Park, Mount Hope, Oak Hill. And she posts some pretty cool pictures that we didn't get. And again, you can enjoy at your own leisure. If I'm scrolling too fast for you after, or the link will be in the description below. There go them towers, see them? You're right underneath those. That's what I think is so cool about when I get out in the field. Okay, I don't want to use the term juxtaposition, but you can picture yourself there, right? Instead of just going like this and going down on it and using Google and just hitting next. When I say that when I was out in the field saying don't just hit next on the keyboard, I know some people that's all if you're far away and you can't get to a place, that's all you're relegated to do. But I am in this area. I feel obligated to get to these places and show them. That's what I do. And it looks like this lady did the same thing. Continuing on with the article, Cobb's Hill provides one of the best views of the city skyline. According to an article entitled Dedication of the Wide Waters Field Monument from the Rochester Museum and Science Center Archives, quote, Wide Waters, also called Lake Riley, was once a canal boat turnaround in Cobb's Hill Park near Culver Road, unquote. Take a look at the photo postcard on mygenealogy.com of the canal running through Cobb's Hill Park. And that is what this postcard is right here. Pretty cool. Because of the challenges that the Pinnacle Range presented, major infrastructure like the Erie Canal, Trolley Line, Subway, and 1490 Expressway were constructed around it, leaving this beautiful area intact. Even still, the hills saw their fair share of mining for sand and gravel. In an article on historicbrighton.org introducing Gideon Cobb, quote, environmentalists soon decried the use of Pinnacle Range for clay, gravel, and sand pits. In 1910, George Eastman purchased 1/3 of the Pinnacle Range, including Cobb's Hill, and presented it to the city of Rochester as a park, unquote. A trail through Washington Grove winds through a quiet grove of ancient oaks and leads you up to the graffiti-tagged water towers. I believe we've seen those. Although I'm not sure we've seen the water towers, but we've seen graffiti-tagged buildings. I always think that that's cool when you're out there. I still got the audio going. Cobb's Hill also hosts Monroe County's public safety communications and is one of the Rochester's most popular sledding hills. Some more pictures for you. That's right, Mr. Ganarsis. The Western Door. Shadows of the Western Door. I got it right here for you, Brohim. Author Mason Winfield. He and I have a good rapport. As a matter of fact, I cited Barry Fell in the beginning of the presentation. OG right here, Mason Winfield, knew Barry Fell and went around following him in his presentation. So we're going to be presenting more information, and hopefully, Mason, we're putting out a documentary about the esoteric nature of the Western Door, and I'll be a part of that, contributing as a historian. He asked me personally to be a part of that, and I was humbled. And I've showed that before. If you're following along with me, you get it. So let's continue on with this article. Cool pictures. And I think we're coming close to the end here, so I appreciate your patience. Pinnacle Hill is Rochester's highest point and is home to 5 of its broadcast signal towers, plus the aptly named Hillside Children's Center. Pinnacle Hill was heavily excavated for gravel, especially during the cutting of the S. Clinton Ave through the range. It is most rustic. Woodland bike trails dominate the hill, which borders Pinnacle Road and Field Street. Pinnacle Hill also hosts St. Patrick's Church Cemetery. From the Rock History blog, quote, there are records showing that some removals to Holy Sepulchre started in 1872. By 1879, the cemetery had become very overgrown. Old newspaper articles say that the last burial in St. Patrick's was 1900. Then, in 1935, it was decided to remove all the rest of the burials in the cemetery, unquote. More pictures of Highland Park area. Beautiful. Definitely an attraction in the city of Rochester, south of the city. There goes the reservoir that we were just on the side of. Niagara Falls. Shout out Niagara Falls. Is that what I just read the oh, how dare you, 7-Eleven. Well, look at the colors on the trees here. And then in winter. So, again, we're Northeasterners up here. We are certainly used to the changing of the season. That's why I think a lot of people stay up here, because we like that and appreciate that. This is a view that was probably similar to where me and Robbie were at the top of it when we were talking to that mountain biker, looking south towards the Finger Lakes. You can see it right here on your screen. Caption. And here the text details that. Looking roughly 28 miles south, you can see the hills and protected land surrounding our freshwater sources at Canadis and Hemlock Lakes. Those waters fill the reservoir here at Cobb's Hill and provide for the city below. Highland Park is a series of rolling hills and meandering pathways. Follow them through the memorials, around the reservoir, through the Pinetum, and across the South Ave to Highland Bowl and the Sunken Garden. The Pinnacle Range has been a popular place for early Rochesterians to bury their dead. In a 2020 WXXI news article by Veronica Volk entitled, quote, "They're Under Our Feet, Highland Park is the final resting place for hundreds of unidentified remains," unquote. The plaque located near the memorials reads, "This plaque is dedicated to the men, women, and children whose unmarked graves were discovered here in 1984. They are believed to have been 19th century residents of Monroe County Almshouse, insane asylum, and penitentiary that occupied this site. Despite best attempts, an estimated 600 individuals remain buried there today. The old Colgate Divinity campus shares a similar sweeping southern view to standing at the reservoir to the east." And we're getting into Mount Hope now. There goes that cemetery. Interesting shaped pond there. Little mound in the middle. Again, this link will be in the description for those that are just chiming in. Mount Hope Cemetery is quite different from its fellow Pinnacle Hills. In the epitaph published in 2004, author William Chasen writes that, quote, "The continuous use of Mount Hope Cemetery since 1838 has also preserved an incomparable glacial landscape." There you go, unquote. Take a guided geology walk to learn about Ice Age landforms, kames, moraines, kettles, the type of stones that make up gravel stones, mausoleums, the ground you're standing on, and residents who influenced the sciences during their time above ground. 5 Oak Hill. More pictures for you. You may be scratching your head trying to recall ever having noticed a large hill on the river's edge, leveled to create a golf course that has since relocated. Oak Hill is now the University of Rochester's Riverside campus. Oak Hill Country Club was located next to the river from 1901 to 1921 before moving to Pittsford. And on the screen right now, you see a illustration of an actual, looks like a drawing of Pinnacle Hill. See right here where my cursor is? Gives you orientation for, Genesee River on your left right here. And you got the beginnings right here of Irondequoit Bay, top right. You'll be able to see this yourself. Again, link will be below. And then we get into the resources. Now we read that. Now let's keep going. This is a postcard that was available in that previous article that I just read. Terms. I'm a terms guy. We're not just, again, combative to the mainstream. We have to try to attain a level playing field with them. Okay, so we're not looked at as pseudo-historical researchers. Terminal moraine is also sometimes called an end moraine. It forms at the very end of a glacier, as we've seen in that video to begin with, telling scientists today important information about the glacier and how it moved. At the terminal moraine, all debris that was scooped up and pushed to the front of the glacier is deposited as large clumps of rock, soil, and sediment. Scientists study terminal moraines to see where the glacier flowed and how quickly it moved. Different rocks and minerals are located in specific places in the glacier's path. If a mineral that is unique to one part of the landscape is present in a terminal moraine, geologists know the glacier must have flowed through that area. It's interesting, and that's the deductive reasoning right there, as I stated in my recent IG post. You also have KAMEs, which is what this gentleman is calling cited in that article that I just read, Herman Leroy Fairchild. I try to find his book that was cited in archive.org, but they don't have it available on their resource right here that you can use for research. Archive.org, classic right here. But a KAME or knob is a glacial landform. Now look at right here. That's why I say some things that we call mounds, the mound builders, that could be a KAME. So we have to be diligent in our research and not just label everything as, oh, that must be an ancient mound. That's got to be an ancient hill fort, because that could, to the untrained eye, look like a mound. Okay, but it's actually formed from glaciers that I guess we could say we know we're here. Okay, I'm not debating or disputing the ice age. I still, hold my faith very close and strong, but I still believe in certain time scales that there was probably ice here 10,000 years ago. Certainly could be wrong, but I don't. In that regard, in that theater of the research, I'm not combative with mainstream, as I keep on saying. So a knob or a KAME is an irregularly shaped hill or mound composed of sand, gravel, and till that accumulates in a depression on a retreating glacier. And we've heard that more than once now. I'm not going to go over this. You guys will have it available to you, as I said. Let's get back to the chat and say what's up. Jack Skellington, what's up? Good to see you. I'm Texas. What are you talking about? And where, Niagara Falls? You know what? This is kind of. You guys like the music in the background? It keeps on repeating. Let me know. Oh, Howard. There he is, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. Robbie Red, what's up? Oh, don't worry about it, man. I was my bad that I went on without you, dude. But I had to get it out. It's been a minute. No worries at all. Always no worries. No harm, no foul, brother. Go follow Robbie's, if I still have it in the paste. Go follow Robbie Red's channel right there. Legend, family man, homesteader, roof ninja, putting on them beautiful chimneys in these houses in this area. As a matter of fact, I might need you to help with some flashing work on my house, Robbie. My dad and I were talking about that today. But yeah, there goes Robbie Red in the flesh right there. Well, in the text, rather. But that's kind of relevant right now. Anybody hear the news about Alicia Silverstone possibly eating that deadly nightshade? She didn't know what kind of berry it was over in England. Talk about clueless. I don't know about rune stones. Jack Skellington asked, no rune stones in New York? There's a rune stone here in AR. Is that Arkansas? Odd. Good question. I should know that. Salty says, terminal moraine. It's what you get from eating wild berry. Makes you sleepy. Oh, you can't hear the music? Good. Was there music? Could you hear it during the slideshow? He says there's music. I think you guys can hear it the whole time. It's my bad. Oh, taxes in New York in general? Nah, they're not bad for here. I can say personally, they're not bad for here in Buffalo. Although we do get levied on some taxes from New York State. Okay, there go your definitions. Again, I'm a definitions guy. We spoke about drumlins before. Let's get into the gravy of it. You can see the drumlins in the landscape. And again, that's what I will point out is the size of this glacier. And in the video that we watched at the end of it, you see how this terminal moraine, the shape of it, in my opinion, I mean, it does look like that. But then again, let's pull up this link will be in the description below. It's the New York topographical map. Okay, and again, I'm coalescing a lot of different links here, and I got some more stuff to show you. I don't want to get too long in the tooth with this presentation, but we're just over an hour, not doing too bad. So as you can see, center screen, correlated with the top right in the elevation. If it was a glacier, what mountain was it coming off of is a question that I have. Or could there have, this is for geologists. I'm not purporting to be a geologist. I'm not saying that I have that type of knowledge base. But if this was a glacial moraine, as is stated in the mainstream lane, what mountain would it have come off of? Over here, you have some pretty high elevation, but I think it's a legitimate question to pose. This is where you get into conjecture, and I'll show another article that will be made available in the thing about these professional geologists, one being that Fairchild gentleman, and a couple more other geologists who actually disagree on certain things. I'm not going to read that article. I've done enough reading, but you can. I did read it, and all it does is tell a little bit more in depth about the drumlins and the KAMEs that are around this area and what they think of this actual feature. And a couple prominent geologists actually disagree on some key features. So then it's like, I'm not going to wedge in there a argument that says, oh, that proves that this is an ancient hill fort type of deal. I will say it does leave an opening a little bit for something possibly different, because again, where is the mountain that it came off of? Maybe it was this one. You see there's a little bit higher elevation, but it's not as dark purple as these, which would indicate that the Cobb's Hill is higher than this the hilly area over here to the left. So that's why I'm utilizing the elevation topographical map. I think is very important to show that, compare and contrast against. What do you guys think? Geologist, is it possible that there could have been a glacier coming off of the ice pack that we know was very tall here? They say that from the top of my head memory, the ice that was over this area in the quote unquote ice age, Pleistocene era, was taller than skyscrapers in New York City. So is it possible that glaciers could have been coming off of the actual ice pack itself? I don't know. Geologically speaking, I don't know that. I'm posing that to the viewers. Any geological enthusiasts out there that might know that, either drop it in the comments below after or right now, feel free. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. If I can go back and track back real quick to the video that's here, these mountains right here, if I can use a visual, these mountains right here are higher than this terminal moraine. So if this is a terminal moraine, where are the higher mountains around here? Because I'm not really seeing that in the topography of the area. I don't know. Am I just spitballing there? Certainly. But at least I got out there and showed it that I was on there, and I'm about my business and my research. So what do you guys think? And I'd be interested to see some feedback in the comments below. Now, we went through our terms briefly. This is the article I just cited about that Fairchild gentleman and a couple other, let's scroll all the way down. This is an interesting paper. It also provides more diagrams as to, what you're looking at here, what they were briefly describing in the article that I read. This one gets a little bit more in depth. I'm not going to read it. But what it does is this gentleman here was, he's one of the geologists that, or educator, what is he? American educator. There you go. Geologists that study this place, right? And there's other geologists that study this place as well that are cited in the reference of this presentation or this article, and they just have some difference of opinion. And I wonder if that's because I am not claiming that it's not a geological formation. I'm just leaving the possibility open that it could be. I'm gonna play this probably soon. This is a description of hill forts. Okay, we're gonna play it at 1.25 speed. And again, in with and of the cloth of Barry Fell, we're the Celts here. And are some of these mounds, not saying Pinnacle Hill is, but are some of these mounds ancient hill forts? And even still, even if this was and is a moraine and those cultures were here, they would have utilized it, as Robbie stated. And when we were talking, we were on the hill doing our field work. It could still be natural, but then it could have still been used afterward by these cultures that came down through here, because you use what's there for you already. But yeah, this is a cool interesting article that I read. It just details more about the geological formations of it and how geologists have conjecture on it. You know, they don't agree on everything. And there's cool pictures from that Fairchild's book that, again, I looked up but I couldn't find here. Anyway, you can peruse through this at your leisure. And there's references at the bottom of it, quite a few, which reference the actual other geologists that have. Here you go. Eskers is one of them. Another dude, Gideon, I believe, or what's his name? Is it Gideon? Where are you? Eskers, KAMEs. Oh, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Even geologists have difference of opinion on this thing. Here goes another topographical link that I found and thought it was important to share. You guys can look at it as well. Shows the heights of it. And, of course, the LiDAR. You guys will have access to this as well. And when I said terraced, it does kind of look terraced from the LiDAR. Again, man-made terracing, probably. But we're going to get into and I'm going to showcase that hill fort mound thing rather shortly. And Google Earth, that's what it looks like from Google Earth. This is where I think the shape of the possible serpent mound status comes into play. Even though it's been, like I just said, shaped by man a lot, it would be a massive serpent mound. We all know about the serpent mound in Ohio. It's definitely wouldn't be as big as Pinnacle Hill one, and I'm not saying that it is. It just came to my mind when I looked at it for the first time on Google Earth, is what I'll say. And then we have the topo math I'll show to you. We went by this guy. This will be in the link in the description below. What have we here? This is the book that you can get that we cited, that we tried to find in archive.org. The Pinnacle Hills or the Rochester KAME Moraine by H.L. Fairchild, 1923. And another article that details the geological background of the area. I'll leave in the description below. So, ancient mounds of the natives or Celts from 1000 BC, or are they KAMEs from the glacial action that was going on here in this area? Yes, indeed. 711 Lucas says, "Happy Sunday for all. Sunday fun day." Oh, right back at you. Not doing too bad here on time because pretty much got through all the windows that I wanted to share. And we are going to end on my Instagram page. Here's my Instagram page for those that are just starting to follow me. Scrupulous Berserker 11_11. Okay. It's at the Bills Day, Kids Day with my family. Yesterday. Great time. And again, I share a lot here in between my videos on YouTube. You know, I'm very faithful in God. And that's not overarching with my research, but it is a foundational aspect of it. Okay, I'm not trying to be a holy roller, put it on you or anything like that, but yeah, it has to be known that I am very faithful. I believe in Christ and God, but I'm respectful towards all benevolent religions. Okay. And right quick, this post right here, if you want to do a little bit further digging, is I'll share a little bit of it. Because we are now live. What's up, y'all? Berserker Bear, Robbie Rad behind me. And we're at the top of Pinnacle Hill right now. See if anybody files in. And that's looking south. So, Jordan, what's up, brother? Good time last night, man, with the fam. 2 Acre, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy? So I'm at the top of Pinnacle Hill right now. No worries. My homie Robbie Rad. How dare you? Robbie Rad Bear, full rip. Not too much of a bad hike to get up here, actually. And it's been a long time coming. So figured, as a matter of fact, Robbie had the idea to go live. And I'm like, oh, shit, mine as well. Maxed out, what up? So check it out, fellas. Share it with the view. Where's the, here we go. Let's see, get my mug off the screen. Stay right there, Robbie, so you get a sense of scale. It's a little dark. Maybe you can see it better on the... What is that dude that we've seen a mountain biker up here. Now that's facing south, as you heard in the article that I read. That's facing south towards. We're facing south on this Pinnacle Hill, I believe, right in the middle. I wonder how it looks in winter when there's no overgrowth. Facing south towards the very famous Finger Lake region. All these Finger Lakes here that are also said to have been made from glaciation. So I'm not going to play this whole video because it is rather long. You could watch it at your own leisure on my Instagram. Speaking of mountain biker, shout out to Ironman Bear. Yo, PT Ripa, what's up, man? Mr. Ganarsis, how you guys doing? There you go. Which way are we looking towards?
We are looking south toward the Finger Lakes, right?
South towards the Finger Lakes. You guys see that view? And you can see some mountains in there. I wonder if we could zoom. We can zoom. Instagram doing it. Yo, be careful, Robbie. Sorry, Robbie's a fucking ninja. You should have just seen what he did. Look at this, dude. Speaking of, this is some terraced hills right here. I would not go down there. Bro. Robbie disappears into the bush. And then you can see hills in the distance. So this is Pinnacle Hill. Look at this, dude. We just seen a deer up here, little white-tailed deer. And look at the hills in the distance. I'm not familiar with this area. This is not Buffalo. This is South Rochester. Again, we're on the top of Pinnacle Hill. We just seen the radio towers. As a matter of fact, we were in the radio tower complex. There we go. You guys all seen that. Shout out 7-Eleven Lucas. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you next time. Hit me up whenever. So yeah, at your leisure, you can go check out my Instagram. I don't want to show too much of that. It is quite long. But a link for this is in the description below. And for example, I post stuff like this. I'm going to show this post right here, and I'm going to read what I wrote because I'm very passionate about my research, even though it's a hobby. Okay, like I said, I'm a family man, number one. I work full-time, number two. I wish I could get out and do more field work for you and showcase more research videos. But if you want to follow what I'm doing or see where I'm at, where my head is at anytime, check me out on Instagram. I do a lot more posting there, as it is an internet bulletin board, if you will, where you can post not just little posty tags, post tags, if I could say that, also videos. But this is important. Check this video out, Ancient Aliens Debunked, and I'm going to give it some context by reading off what I wrote. And I think we're going to end it on that, okay? We'll end it on the Ancient Hill Fort video. But okay, so and here's some humor here. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. We all know ancient aliens. I mean, I watched it back in the day before I came back to my faith, and I was big time into. I mean, I'm a Discovery Channel, History Channel child of those shows, and my wife and I canceled cable way back in the day, and I've came away from it, but I still have that in my history, no pun intended. But I look at things a little differently now, and I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. I'm not holy rolling. I do look at things through the lens of my faith, and I look back at history from a different angle than the mainstream lane. Although, like I said, I'm not combative to it, just looking to get a common level ground with it. And that being said, let's read what I posted here. Was this earlier today? Or 10 hours ago it was, actually. Okay, note, 11 years ago this came out. Yet the ancient aliens, Zachariah Sitchin, a.k.a. Zachariah Stitchin' a Fiction together, Anunnaki shite, still plays heavy on sites like Gaia and the like. In my humble, researched opinion, someone will eventually do a categorical breakdown of the Tartarian mudflood impossible architecture rabbit hole. In similar fashion to this ancient aliens debunk documentary. It won't be me, since my research and content I present are based off of #fieldwork, deductive reasoning, observations, and proposing logical questions outside of the mainstream lane. Careful to not make claims I cannot back up without empirical evidence. I believe Tartarian mudflood impossible architecture is ancient aliens wrapped in a new package. 'Tis my take, and I'm sticking with it. Speaking of showcasing my #fieldwork, content and research, I'll be going live sometime tonight, speaking about right now, to present finally the outing I had with my buddy Robbie Rad with the GoPro at Pinnacle Hill, just south of Rochester. I will drop another post here, yada, yada. Okay, so stuff like that is what I put on Instagram. And family stuff as well, because I'm family orientated, but research in between. There goes my beautiful wife. And there goes the end of my parents' street, very close with the Niagara River. That's the Niagara River right there. Do a lot of research on that. It's in its own class. It's 36 miles long. It drops 333 feet in elevation, but it has over 200,000 cubic flow rate, which packs a punch. It's a very dangerous river if you're not familiar with it. And it's about a football field away from my parents' house, just over the old Erie Canal footprint, which is the 190 section of the thruway right now. So water is a big thing of what I do here in the presentations and my research. I have a lot of questions on how they made the foundations of the International Railway Bridge and the Peace Bridge and the old water intake. If you've been following along with me, you should be caught up on all that, and I will be doing more in that theater as well. So water is a big deal here in Western New York. As a matter of fact, of all the northeastern cities, not to knock all you guys, because Buffalo's a small one when compared to New York City, Chicago, Philly, Boston. Buffalo is the only northeastern city which boasts a true sunset over water. Now, esoterically, that's very important. We're offered that from the long length of Lake Erie. You could literally sit in the city of Buffalo where you see all these radios converging, and no other city has that. Okay, I'm showcasing the mechanism of it right now. There's 200 miles of Lake Erie here, so we do truly have a sunset that literally goes into the water. No other northeastern city has that. Buffalo does. You want to talk about the esoteric importance of that, and even I get into a little bit of the occultic knowledge in my research as well, staying true to my faith, but I am interested in that stuff. Radials, I think, are indicative of ancient canals, and then they culminate at the sunset over water. And I will stick my chest out there professionally, respectfully, and say none of y'all other Northeasterners have that. Buffalo does. So another little tidbit of information for you I'd like to share. Salty says, I appreciate that, Salty Dog. Great field work. I feel like I've been to Pinnacle Hills. Thank you. That means a lot to me. It really does. I feel like I've done my job here, presenting what I do when I get out in the field. Hashtag fieldwork. So what a better way to end the stream, getting a good compliment like that. I appreciate everybody who's here. I shared Robbie's channel right here. Check him out. Give him a subscription. He's got a beautiful family, beautiful homestead, and hard worker. And real recognizes real. And that goes for all of you that was here. For Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear, the scrupulous Berserker, I appreciate all of you. God bless all of you. And I will see you on the next one. Okay? Take care. God bless. And as always, keep it sleuthing.